Panasonic has just completed their triumphant return back to the US after a very long absence. Today we'll be showing you the flagship, the Z95A MLA OLED. Up next.
I've seen things most people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me. Like many of you, I am excited to have Panasonic back in the US. They have been gone for a very, very long time. And being a long time Panasonic and Plasma fan, I've been watching them and missing them from afar. I am thrilled to have them back. Now, last week I had Panasonic's very own Alex Freed on for an interview. He discussed the launch, all of the features, and the three main models that they have brought over to the US from the 2024 lineup. The Z95A micro lens array OLED behind me, the Z85, which is a W OLED, and also the W95A, which is a mini LED. I will have all of those models in for review, but today we'll be looking up close at the Z95A flagship OLED with a micro lens array. Thank you so much for watching. All right, guys, let's do it. Panasonic flagship Z95A micro lens array OLED 65 inches. We'll do a very rapid unboxing as this is a launch model. It is not new to me. It may be packaged differently for you upon purchasing it, but it's still very securely packaged. A quick look at the design, and the Z95A is surrounded with Technics speakers all around the chassis. Up firing, side firing, there are also speakers within the bezel, all Technics. Sound is a major factor with the Z95A. As we take a look at what comes in the box, you have a Amazon Fire Panasonic remote. It does have a Learn button at the bottom that separates it from other Fire remotes. We'll talk about that later in the video. Just showing you what comes in the box. Manual, screws, and then you have this base pedestal. Probably the easiest TV I've ever assembled in my life. Checking out the ports on the back of the Z95A, you have your two USB ports, headphone subwoofer port. You also have 4 HDMI, 2 are HDMI 2.1 capable of 144 Hertz. You also have a fixed power cable, and installing the stand is this simple. Screw in the 4 screws, and then the cable management comes over the top and it snaps in. And you're good to go. Now, the Z95A's design is very unique. Again, speakers all around it. You can see the Technics speakers are all through the bottom bezel where you have the very small Panasonic emblem. It is glossy. Very different design than other OLEDs. When you take the sound into account, and even without the sound, I actually don't mind the design. It takes a little getting used to if you're looking for the slimmest of all time. But being somebody that grew up with plasmas, I don't mind the thickness or the chunkiness, especially if it has function, being quality and most importantly, sound quality. It does also swivel. And you have the typical Amazon Fire setup. Now, if you ever set up an Amazon Fire Stick, it is identical to that. I'm really here to show you where those settings start and where they end and where the Z95 settings are, which is where we are here. They may look similar to the Fire UI, but then when you get into the TV settings, they're very much Panasonic 100%, which is something that I was actually concerned about when I was considered to review these TVs, that we would have a Fire TV, so to speak. It is a Panasonic TV from top to bottom, picture quality, but the settings as well, which we'll show you throughout the video. Now, I'll tell you, the Z95A looks gorgeous out of the box. These first two demos are completely out of the box. How it ships in its normal preset is what it's called. You'll see the different presets shortly. But my goal here is not just to give you the specs. My goal is to show you as much of the Z95A as you possibly can in this video, which is why I leave them long if this is the first time you are seeing me. As you can tell, the TV is the focus. I want you seeing the Z95A, considering we are lucky to have Panasonic back. And I've been wanting to review a Panasonic TV for years, since they left the US after the ZT VT60 plasmas. Now, where Panasonic exceeds right out of the box is its signature. It is all about accuracy and also filmmakers' intent. The HCX Pro AI Mark II processor is elite, and they are known for being accurate, as I mentioned, true to the filmmaker, but the picture is definitely 3D. Absolutely gorgeous. It also, as we mentioned, has micro lens array, so it is bright, does have that HDR impact. What also makes the Z95A rare for an OLED is it also has Dolby Vision and has HDR10+. Now, where will the Z95 compete? It competes directly with the A95L from Sony, the G4 from LG, and the Samsung S95D QD OLED. Now, the A95L and the G4 both have a Dolby Vision. The S95D has HDR10+, leaving the Z95A to be the only one that has both formats as an OLED that also has a micro lens array. So if you love both formats, the Z95A is the only game in town as far as OLEDs go. Jumping into the presets, you can already tell, and I love seeing manufacturers that I'm not familiar with for many years, is the different presets. You have Dynamic, Auto, AI, which has the processing enabled. You have Normal, Sport, Cinema, Filmmaker Mode, True Cinema, Professional 1, Professional 2. In total, you have 9 different presets. Love that. And I always say, by going through the presets without changing them, you really see the manufacturer's signature, what they want to convey to you. And then you can go in and you can alter them however you like. But I love seeing, as I've said in the channel many times, flexibility of image. How can you take what the filmmaker intends, what the manufacturer intends, and then make it your own with each separate preset? And going through the settings, you can see what you can change. Very flexible settings for the Z95A. You'll have less flexibility later on with Dolby Vision, which I will show you. But that's the way Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus are. They do get rid of some of those settings, but you can see that you can change the tone mapping. There's a lot of customization with the Z95A. Now, that customization is also in the clarity tab as well as the motion settings. But what I want to convey more than anything is that throughout all the demo material you're seeing here from our good friend Jennifer Gala, special shout out to Jen and her second channel, HDR Super Channel, most of this video is with her content, is it's very dynamic. I jump through every preset throughout this video. All of them appear very accurate. They don't appear noisy. They don't fall apart no matter what preset you are in. And you'll see me jump around throughout the video, trying to show you the different ways the content can look. Now, you don't want to adhere, or I don't want to adhere to just one audience where it's filmmaker mode or it can be very drab. Every mode looked fantastic. and had vibrancy. More importantly here, the screen uniformity and lack of color banding around these objects. This is a very tough demo from Jen. Typically in a lot of TVs, you'll see gradients banding, you'll see banding or noise around each color as they fall, each piece of fruit, and it is extremely clean, but the processing, super clean from Panasonic. The HCX Mark II processor is unbelievable, and it's been one of Panasonic's signatures from way back. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Panasonic, they are not new. They've been around for eternity. Though they left, they did not leave the TV market at all. They just left the US. So they've been continuing to hone their craft, their signature, and have won awards both here and all over the world. Think of this 2024 lineup, which it is the worldwide lineup that they're just offering to the US now. This isn't a Frankenstein's monster TV they created last minute. This is the 2024 lineup. They will have more TVs in 2025, which they will showcase at CES. What I'm saying to you is that they've been doing this for many, many years. And in all the shootouts and all the competitions all over the world, everyone would say, as far as the USA, if Panasonic's not in it, you can't really declare a winner. And seeing the TVs in person and knowing the reputation from the days of when I owned Plasma, I always agreed, but never could get my hands on one. From what you can tell from the footage, the image is gorgeous, but clarity is key with this processor and with the Z95A. And motion, not an issue. You'll see some of these very fast demos as they go across the screen. I love this shot simply because the panning is very quick and you would see noising or artifacting, and you do not. Again, lots of flexibility in the motion settings. I didn't feel there was a time where I needed to enable soap opera, but it is there if you want it. Again, these demos are very bright, very vibrant. Screen uniformity, as I mentioned before, is excellent all around. No visible DSC, and banding was at a minimum, especially for a WOLED. Now, particularly in this demo is the lack of crushing black. It is shadow detail is Panasonic's main claim to fame when going against the champions of the shootout, was how do you keep that shadow detail and keep the black level where it needs to be, especially coming out of black. Amazing. Again, panning shot here, but showing you the full spectrum of colors. But with OLED, it's so important to have shadow detail but not have lifted blacks. Did not encounter that at all at my time with the Z95A in all content, sports, movies, including gaming, which you'll see later in the video. Their color reproduction is amazing. You'll see it throughout this video, and I picked specific demos to showcase it. What I also love about what Panasonic has is owning its own Hollywood studio for many, many years, also having created its own reference monitor years ago, just not choosing to sell it. Being one of only two manufacturers to use 3D LUTs, the other being LG. And again, you'll see that LUT system in reference monitors, which is what Panasonic has. They do have the best of both worlds, as I mentioned. They have that accuracy signature that adheres to the filmmaker. They also have that gaming aspect. For somebody who's looking at Sony or looking at LG, you also have Panasonic right there in the middle with features that neither one of them have, but also qualities that both of them also have. And then, as I mentioned, having both formats, Dolby Vision and HDR10+. So it's rare in that case. Then you add in micro lens array and then add in the sound, which we will see later. And it really is a very unique entry into the TV market, especially this time of year. If you watch my interview with Alex Freed, please tune in to watch it, where he shares the return story of Panasonic. But they were very close to entering the Value Electronics TV shootout, and been very interesting to see how they would have performed with their accuracy and their know-how in terms of their processing. Now, processing is key for all the major manufacturers, and Panasonic knows this better than anyone, and they do show it off in terms of their clarity. It is on screen the entire time in every type of content, as I've mentioned, and also in the gaming aspect. Now, I don't show movies due to copyright, but I do show you as much content as I possibly can in these videos. As I mentioned, that's why I leave these very long. This Z95A for the US market is very rare. Some of you have never seen them before. I want to give you as much of it to view as possible. You can see within the image that the whites are very white. They are not blue. They are not tinted blue. It looks amazing. And again, being very familiar with all of this content from our good friend Jennifer Gala, I know what to look for. I know where to look for the gradients and look for the color banding, and it doesn't have any. And these are very challenging pieces from both Jen and the HDR Super Channel. We're going to move into Dolby Vision settings next. Now, looking at a paused copy of Brotherhood of the Wolf, one of my favorite films of all time, you're seeing the different Dolby Vision presets. If there's one nitpick that I don't love with the menu, is they do have this little faded light in the corner, which on an OLED, you know it's not blooming. It's just there to highlight the settings. But when you do have a mini LED, people are going to say, uh-oh, it's blooming. And having to back out to see the effect is something, as you can see how beautiful that image is. But it fading away while you're going through the settings is a minor annoyance. But when I do review the mini LED, I can't wait for people to say that, oh my God, it's blooming. It's really meant to be a spotlight to show you the settings, and then it kind of fades out. But as you can see, the worry of the Amazon Fire interface interfering with the Panasonic settings is nowhere to be found. It's Panasonic through and through, and it's not until you back out or hit home that it feels like a Fire TV. Something that I was very concerned about, and something that is not an issue at all. Dolby Vision looks fantastic. I've put it through the paces on several films that are very challenging, and the upscaling is also amazing. Now, when we talk about price, we also discuss where it's right in line now with the A95L and the G4, as it should be. It's not going to be more expensive. Again, it was released earlier in the year. It's not an old TV. It is just a 2024 model. It's just new to us. Now, for me, what separates it definitely from both its competition is sound quality. Those Technics speakers really doing their job. The setup, as you can see here, is very elaborate. Not just is the TV close to the wall, but where is it from the ceilings and the sides? The adjustment that you're seeing is something you only really see on high-end soundbars, not on a TV. Typically, TVs do a very quick acoustic analysis, and that's it. This takes a while, but it's a lot like the highest-end soundbars, and it sounds just as good as a high-end soundbar. Soundbar is definitely not needed. There's a period of time in here where I'm actually going to stop talking and let Jennifer Gala's sound play. Just turn the volume up or turn it down. We'll be able to go through the presets and actually give you a listen to the sound quality. There is also a pinpoint, spot, and focus mode where you can actually move the speakers through software in the front bezel. I'll show that to you shortly. There is the sound focus mode where you can actually channel the music and move it to either side of the room. To your audience, you have somebody hard of hearing or someone doesn't like the TV loud, it actually does work. I'll show it to you here. The sound effect doesn't really work on camera. We're going to move also into the sound demo. Please turn your volume up as we listen to Jennifer Gala, and we'll walk through the presets for the sound demo. Now, moving into gaming, I apologize if that was too loud, but keep in mind the volume was only at 50, which is half the max volume. The TV sounds phenomenal. Best sounding TV I have ever heard, and kind of walked around just listening to music. I'm going to go over gaming kind of quickly. This is all PS5 footage, as I do have a gaming PC and console video planned. I can tell you right now, I recommend it for gaming immediately. Having 144 hertz capabilities, G-Sync, FreeSync, Dolby Vision gaming, it is incredible, and the game mode looks fantastic out of the box. I'll show you the game bar shortly as we move into we have also some SDR gaming coming up, but it does look phenomenal. Now, I'm going to show you gaming, but I am going to talk about some of the drawbacks that I feel for the Z95A. Mainly, there's only one size, as we mentioned. They are going to release more sizes, I believe, at CES maybe next year. That's a bummer, having only 65 inches. And then the remote, the Amazon Fire remote, as we look at some SDR gaming right here, looks amazing. The remote does have a learn feature that separates it from the other Fire remotes, but many of you are going to be disappointed about the remote and probably the Amazon interface, which doesn't bother me at all. I don't love any of the operating systems of any of the manufacturers, so it doesn't bug me in the least. If you do need a Apple TV or something to plug it in, it'll recognize it. Don't let it bother you if you want a Panasonic. The remote, I wish we had a second remote that was more detailed other than the Fire remote, perhaps something that's backlit. Those are my main takeaways that I don't love from the Z95A, which is very minimal. Being that there's only one size and I'm not interested in a 65 inch, and I don't love the remote. Otherwise, I love the TV. It is gorgeous. And for gaming, as I mentioned, the game mode, as I show you the settings here, also very flexible. You can also change the black level like LG does, being able to deepen it if you have lifted blacks from the games, not from the TV. Having that flexibility in game mode, what really sets OLEDs apart from mini LEDs, and having a micro lens array OLED that's as bright as the Z95A looks incredible, and having the 144 hertz functionality is a big deal. And why I mention OLEDs with game mode is our game modes typically are superior in terms of how they look, but you also still want to have that flexibility of images you just saw, being able to change the tone mapping in different ways than other manufacturers. You still only have two HDMI 2.1 ports, one of them being the eARC. A big deal to many, not as important to me as it once was. I wouldn't base my decision on that. But you're seeing the flexibility of image as we go through the gaming picture mode. You can alter it quite a bit, and there are different game genre presets built within the game bar, which I'll show you momentarily. Now, what I love about the Z95A jumping in is it's jumping right in the mix with the best TVs in the world and doing what they do, and in some ways doing it better, as it's doing a bit of everything. Again, very accurate, but then the flexibility to be as saturated and as 3D as you like, and then having the 144 hertz, having this game bar, having the gaming presets, it does everything well. If it was just bigger, I'd be all set. I'd get an 83 inch in a heartbeat, and again, the TV sounds incredible. I actually do like the design. I don't mind the design at all. Many of you might be turned off by having the bezel at the bottom. I got used to it after about an hour of watching it, and I've had it for quite a while, actually. Spent a lot of time as my daily driver, and I've really enjoyed it all around. But I love that they entered this and went right at the top. But again, this TV has been out and competing at that level for many, many years now. But it's great to have another option of a TV that is very accurate, but also has a better game option. Then it's not just being cinema reliable. You also have one that does both very, very well. And the game mode, though you can make it look very saturated, did lean towards very accurate. And there is a game preset, the true game preset, where you don't have to leave to change the settings. You can do them right here on the game bar. as you're seeing me go through the game bar here. Again, I'll do another video with the PC gaming with a 4090 to show you 144 hertz, as well as more console gaming. That'll be dedicated with the Z95A all gaming, so we'll cover the presets more in depth and the game mode flexibility in that next video. Now, nearing the end of the video, the Z95A is very easy to recommend. And in terms of price, I do look at price of a high quality display with a processor and as well as superior sound. And I think it's priced reasonably well with its competition. Easy to recommend it. Now, a feature that I do love and I thought I wouldn't care about it is the ambient experience that it is offered to Panasonic, I guess, non-ambient enabled Fire TVs, but the flexibility to put something on in the background, whether it's artwork, you have to pay other manufacturers and download that. They change this artwork and it does look gorgeous in the background as you're listening to music. You can choose many different types that are already preloaded, as you see here, have dynamic, motion, and still pictures. My favorite was the Hollywood ones, which I'll show you at the end, but I actually did find myself using this in tandem with the sound, letting the screensaver come up, have the ambient experience play, a clock you can put the widgets on however you like, but I did enjoy walking around listening to music with the amazing sound system and having these images here. There's also an AI where you can create your own images and save them, and it's actually hilarious and works very, very well. Special shout out to the Osaka team, Tiger, and the rest of the squad showing me all the settings when I was actually at Amazon in New York City checking this out. They did the AI part for me, which was hysterical. But love the TV. Again, very easy to recommend. And these are preloaded. These Hollywood, Dirty Harry, Psycho, 2001, Bonnie and Clyde. Very, very cool. And it's a feature that I actually recommend using. In closing, the Panasonic Z95A micro lens array OLED is one of the easiest TVs to recommend, both in terms of its picture quality, its processing, its gaming, its upscaling, its sound quality, and build quality. Definitely a recommend, definitely a buy, and it fits right in with the best TVs on the planet right now. Let me know what you think. You're happy Panasonic is back. I'm happy they're back. Please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. Take care.